Hello YouTube, welcome to my channel, Eddie in Reading Land. My name is Eddie, and today I thought I'd jump on the wagon with the hashtag Maiden Mother Crone hashtag, either created by Logan from Larks and I don't remember the channel name, or Rose. I'll have them both listed below just in case. But yes. Okay, so let's get started with this one. Okay guys, so for my first Maiden deck, I thought I would look for something that's fun, that's cute, that's adorable, that is a little bit different, and that doesn't, even though it's cute, it doesn't rain, or it is not afraid to show a little bit more complexity. I feel like Maiden Energy is very fun. It's very youthful. It's very adorable. It's very cute. I do have to say that it is a little bit difficult for me to read with very cute decks because I get distracted by the imagery so much that I get this feeling of I just want to cuddle with this, and I just want to hug it and just squeeze it. So this is one of those decks, but I am able to read this one because it doesn't shy from the more difficult cards, especially in the complexity. And that tarot deck is actually the Nishikigoi Tarot, by Mint Yoruneko. This is a deck that I actually have never seen anyone on YouTube show, so maybe I should do a video about it. But yeah, so these are the cards. This is the back of the cards. It's a really beautiful deck, and it comes in a really sturdy box as well. And it's those two-part boxes that I like, so that's a plus. That's great. But yes, so this is one of those fun decks that I use when I like to feel a little bit playful, and that I'm able to or that I want to have a fun time with the tarot. I'm not looking for anything serious. So as you can see, is all koi fish. The koi fish are really adorable. Thankfully they're all different. They're all different colors, and they're all in different sort of situations. And I like this for a Maiden deck because it is just adorable enough. It's very youthful. I feel like if you want to get started with this tarot as a kid, you're going to be able to connect better with it, because it's Rider-Waite-Smith based. It's just koi fish, but everything else on the cards feel exactly the same way. Like this Page of Pentacles feels like the Page of Pentacles from the Rider-Waite-Smith to me. There's a touch of gentility and flow to this tarot that I really like. Even though they're fish, you can definitely see that these fish are feeling something. They're trying to impart a message, but they're also in a learning sort of stage, I feel, with the Nishikigoi Tarot. So that's why, for that reason, is one of my Maiden decks, because I feel like it's young, it's a little bit naive, it's trying to look for answers, and it's getting the answers that you want, but they're being delivered in a more subtle and easier way to understand, or an easier way to feel. So that's, see, like for example, in this Five of Pentacles, you can see that there's a skeleton over here, so it doesn't really shy away from the really more difficult cards. So I like it. I feel like even though Maiden Energy is related more with fun and youth, that you know, there's potential there for it to be a little bit dark and a little bit difficult. In the stages of the Maiden, we're still learning, so that's why I like this deck for that. Okay, so that was the Nishikigoi Tarot. And for my next deck, I am bringing to you guys the Boo Tarot, which is one of those adorable decks that I was talking about. This I actually got, I believe, last year for Halloween. My husband bought it for me. This is another one of those really, really fun decks. The energy of this deck is a little bit, it's a little bit older. I'm not thinking maybe puberty, or maybe teenager years with this deck. I will say that even though I do love this tarot, the cardstock, for some reason, it's very strange. As you can see here, the deck is a little bit warped, and I don't riffle shuffle this deck at all. Well, I mean, I did once, and then I was like, well, that's not gonna happen again. And but yeah, this is the Boo Tarot. Oh, these are the backs. But this time, I'm just gonna start from this side. Look at that. It's a little ghost, and it's so cute. I like this one because it's a little darker, and it's a little bit more serious, even though the imagery is very youthful and infantile. Not infantile in a bad way, but in the way that you can see children loving this, and even grown-up men. I mean, I love this tarot. It's very fun. I love the colors. I really, really enjoy the serenity and the tranquility, the plenitude that you can feel from these cards. And for that reason, I think this is a Maiden deck, because it just gives me all of those really good vibes that start to make you feel warm inside, and it starts to make you smile. It doesn't shy from being fun and making you laugh. These cards make me laugh. But it also doesn't shy from the dark side or the shadow side of the deck. I like how creative the artist, her name is Celia. Let's see, it's French, so it's supposed to be Celia Melesville. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right. My French has gone away. I haven't practiced with it for so long. But yes, she got very creative with the ghost and how she portrayed the cards for the majors. I mean, look at this chariot. It's just, you can feel that the chariot is moving forward, that it's a lot of energy, that they're feeling successful in what they're doing and what they're going to accomplish. So I really, really, really like this deck. Here's the strength card. Beautiful strength card. One of my favorites, as you guys might know. But yeah, so this is the Boo Tarot by Celia Melesville. And I chose it as a Maiden deck again because of the feeling of youthfulness, plus plenitude and warmth, and making others want to smile, having fun with your readings, and just being a delight. The maiden archetype can be very complex, and it is very complex. And I think that this is another more mischievous side, or trickster side of the maiden, in my opinion. Okay, so moving on from the Boot Tarot, my next maiden deck is actually one that we've already seen before on the channel, and it's the Cloud cards. So this is the book where they come in a book. It's sealed, as you can see, but this is a book. Let me show you guys over here. There we go. It's a book, and it opens up like a book as well. Hopefully the cards are not going to fall down on me, but yep. I really like this deck. I use this deck as an oracle deck. My connection to this deck goes further in my past than actually many of these decks that I have right now. These are the backs. I will create a whole video on this deck because I feel like I need to share it, and I feel that to show you guys how you can use other decks that are not meant for divination and use it as so. I use this deck for my monthly spread. This month I got the power card, which was the card that was at the beginning of the deck. But yeah, these are the beautiful backs. I chose this as my third maiden deck because, again, it's playful. It's entertaining. It's filled with melancholy and nostalgia for me. Melancholy, not in a bad way. It reminds me of when I was a child and watching the anime where these cards come from. I chose this deck as my third maiden deck because it's it's that part of the maiden that wants you to look back on what you've learned, to know that because you are young, it doesn't mean that you haven't gone through difficult things or that you haven't explored more complex themes. I mean, look at this mirror card. This card could mean a reflection of you. This card can be reflecting something to you that you need to work with. So for this reason, and just because the deck is just so beautiful, Clamp did an amazing job with these cards. And adding such diverse themes to the cards and the way that they portray them as beings and as manifestations of that. I mean, look, at the loop card is it's a rubber band, I know, but it just makes sense with the shape of the lemniscate. The Libra, you know how to balance. This almost looks like a justice card, but you know, what is lie? What is the truth? Or what is advantageous? What is this? What is positive or negative? This is a beautiful deck. Silent, the silent card. Like I said, this is a more complex and darker side of the maiden, a more reflective and introspective side of the maiden, in my opinion. Again, my connection to these cards go back very, very very far into the past, and it's one of my favorite decks. I will take this deck with me everywhere. If I can only choose 3 decks, this would be one of my 3 decks that I would choose. I am able to do whole spreads with this deck, even though the cards are very long, as you guys can see as well. But yeah, this is my 3rd Maiden deck. I like that we still get a sort of playfulness and oftentimes, you know, very serious cards like the Fiery card. I really like this deck. So this is my 3rd Maiden deck. That was the Cloud cards by Clamp. And now, let's see, moving on to the Mother archetype. So in my understanding of the Mother archetype, I thought a lot about my relationship with my mom. And, you know, being a Latino and having your parents be very important in your life, it got me thinking about, you know, what is it that my mother does that makes her such an important part of my life? And I thought about a lot of things, but the first thing that I thought is, well, she brings a lot of warmth in my life and a lot of love. And I think that the White Numen Tarot by, I believe her name is Alba Ballesta Gonzalez. So she's another Latina. I'm not really sure what their pronouns are. So a Latinx artist. And I chose the White Numen Tarot because this tarot just makes me feel very warm and fuzzy inside. This is a tarot that when I use it, it makes me more contemplative, and you know, it tells me what I want to hear in a very motherly sort of way, very gentle sort of way. Makes me feel warm, makes me feel taken care of, and it gives me very tender vibes. So it's that nurturing side of the mother that I see in this deck. The cards, the artwork is amazing. Oh, this is one of the extra cards, 2 extra cards that are on the deck. The White Numen card, and I guess this is the Black Numen. These are beautiful cards. I love them. I like that Alba used a lot of animal imagery in the deck to make us sympathize with the cards even more. Animals tend to make us sympathize. Humans depicted in cards tend to make us empathize. So I'm not really sure if they did this on purpose, but that is what they do to me, at least. The cards also have a very rich and pleasant coloring, and the people as well are very almost nonchalant, but again, it doesn't feel detached. It feels more warm. It feels that it feels magnetic. That's what it is. In their nurturing, you know, they're not trying to smother you. They're trying to nurture you. There's a difference. So that's why I enjoy this as my first mother deck archetype. And not to mention that also there's a lot of canines in this deck, so I really enjoy this. I really enjoy that about it. See, very rich colors. It feels very appropriate as a nurturing mother sort of type. This deck. Okay, so that was the White Numen Tarot, and for my second deck, I have the Exile Tarot Awakened Edition. There is a silent, I believe it's silent edition of this deck. This is the Exile Tarot from Woe Studios, by the way, guys. I'm sorry, I didn't say who it was from. This is the version that has faces on it. There's another version without the faces. This is the same creator of the Monsoon Tarot, which I also have. But I chose this as my second mother archetype deck because this is the side of the mother where she's more serious, where she is imparting a lesson that you don't particularly like, but that you need to hear. So this is my advice sort of mother archetype deck. I'm gonna show you the cards because they're actually very beautiful. And let's see where I can put this over here. Okay. It comes with a bunch of stuff here, guys. But this deck also has amazing cardstock. It's that linen cardstock. I don't know if you guys can tell. Hopefully it focuses, but that you can feel it in the texture, and it has amazing gilding. I mean, rainbow, yes, beautiful. Okay, so oh, the deck does come with 2 sets of aces for each of the suits. This is one of them, Ace of Pentacles. See, and another ace. Oh, this is a beautiful 2 of Pentacles. So, in the Silent Edition, this character does not have a face. And I think that's a disservice because she is beautiful. This is a great 2 of Pentacles, guys. Great representation. But yes, moving on. I'm going on a tangent with the my reasonings for the mother archetype for this deck. Yeah. Whenever I use this deck, it's one of those decks that are giving you advice. They're being serious with you. This is the mom that is going to sit with you on your bed, who is going to comfort you when you're going through a really hard time, who's going to give you her shoulder for you to cry on, for you to complain, for you to, you know, lay out all of your grievances to it. But this is also the deck or that is going to tell you, yes, you're going through this, but this is why you're going through this. This is also your responsibility. Not everything happens because you deserve it, but sometimes things happen because we need that lesson, or we created a situation where something very negative happened to us. And this is that sort of deck for me. I love the 6 of Pentacles, by the way. This is actually the Wheel of Fortune card in the deck. So this is a very powerful image to me. This is the mom that knows that to teach her children. Sometimes it's gonna get tough, and sometimes you know, we need to hear things that we don't want to. Oh, this is one of my favorite cards in the deck as well, by the way. This 8 of Pentacles is amazing. I love this depiction. So I mean, I've certainly had times in my life when I was growing up, and even now, that my mom has been there as the voice of advice that I don't want to hear. And this is exactly the energy that this deck gives me. It's very intuitive as well. It makes you very intuitive, but it also makes you access your shadow very well. So this is the reason why I chose this as my second Mother Archetype deck. And this was the Exile Tarot Awakened Edition by Woe Studios. Beautiful, beautiful deck. Okay, and my third deck for Mother, it's the Children of Letha Tarot by Sia Hunt. And I chose this deck because, well, I mean, Sia is also a parent, and her art is not only beautiful, but is very, 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 very colorful, and she has a great aesthetic. It's also fantastical. So, you know, I love all of those things, guys. As I have mentioned before in my videos, the Children of Letha Tarot by Sia Hunt gets chosen because this is the side of the mother that is that wants to be part of your life, that wants to be there for you, that is able to facilitate situations and facilitate resources for you. This is that sort of energy that this deck gives me. As you can see, it's very, very, very colorful, very detailed, the artwork. I love it. But this deck wants to be with you. This deck wants to be your friend. This is the Mother archetype that really, you know, wants to be your friend as well, and be a partner with you, instead of just being your mother. This is the deck that I feel like this is a deck where is the mom that's you know, taking her children to engagements and being part of the fun. They're there. Just so that you're sure that there's somebody there for you. That's what I mean. There's somebody there for you that you can call them and they will step right in front of you so that they can help you out. This is the sort of energy that the deck gives me. All of the cards are what's the word that I'm looking for? Oh yeah, there's a little bit of violence in this deck, especially here with the Emperor. But all of the cards seem to have a very lonely feeling to it as well, which probably contradicts everything that I just said about the deck. But really, this deck is just wants to be a part of you, just wants to be your friend. This deck wants to be there for you. This deck wants to give you support. This deck wants you to succeed. This deck wants to give you answers. This deck wants to share. I love this strength card, guys, by the way. It's so beautiful. And I feel like it's a mothering energy because every time I use it, it also makes me feel very warm and comforted. So that's why I chose it as my third and final mother deck. Children of Letha Tarot by Sia Hunt. Okay, and for the last archetype, the Crone, I was looking for decks that make you more introspective and make you more. They set up a challenge for you. For the Crone energy, I was looking for decks that felt old, and that felt very wise, that were a little bit abstract, and that they were darker in feel. For the Crone archetype, I think that I wanted to exemplify the shadow aspect of the Crone, and I'm sure that the Crone also could be very fun, but she would be very easygoing with her fun. She would have her hobbies. I feel like the Crone would have her hobbies, and she would practice her crafts, and she would enjoy honing her skills even more in old age. But yeah, for the first one that I want to show you guys was actually it's actually an oracle deck. This is the word or weird. I think it's pronounced word oracle. I forgot who this is by, but I think let's see if we can. It says by AKA Skyweb. This is an Asian creator. Oh, this is the inside of the decks, which is the backs of the deck. And I backed this on Kickstarter a couple of years ago, I want to say. And it's black edged, but I was just so impressed and fascinated by the imagery of the women on this deck. The penmanship is extremely detailed, and all of these women are very different, and they're trying to exemplify three things. Like, for example, this one, it's supposed to represent balancing, struggle, and focus. It is a very difficult deck to use because it forces you to think out of the box. It forces you to view and see things in a very different way than what you're used to, or at least what I'm used to. This is a deck that I use very sparingly. I tend to use it a little at the end of the year because the imagery, as you guys can see, is quite macabre, and it's very eerie. The expressions and the feelings that these cards give me are very primal. They're very scary too. They could be very scary. It feels like this deck is pulling from inside me, from deep within me, things that I wasn't thinking about, and then bringing them into the light. It's really hard work working with this deck. There is no guidebook. It's all just you. It's all just you. I actually have a journal for this deck because I wanted to see if I was able to try and distill how I was feeling for each of these cards, but it was also very difficult because every time I pulled the same card, it just made me feel very different things. So yeah, I mean, I use this very sparingly throughout the year. I also use it intuitively, which I think is one of the best skills that the crone has. She is very intuitive. She has honed her skills in such a way that she's hardly ever wrong. But this deck is also very witchy to me in the sense that is just pulling from you, pulling stuff from you that were inside you and making you face it. And I think that exemplifies the crone archetype very well. Facing your fears, facing your shadow, even after all this time. For the crone archetype, I mean, even if not because you are old doesn't mean that you don't have to confront your fears and or yourself, right? So this is exactly why I chose this as my first deck. It's the Word Oracle by aka Skyweb, guys. I'm not sure if this is available. But if it is, I'll just leave the link down below for you guys if you are interested in this. Okay, so moving on. For my second crone deck, I chose, here we go, Tarot of the Abyss by Anatolian. Such a fan of Anatolian decks, especially the Tarot of the Abyss and the Hidden Waters Tarot, which I adore. I love using that deck because it just makes my intuition and my creativity just swirl in such a positive way, and it always challenges me to find different hidden meanings within the cards that I rarely see in them. But for the Tarot of the Abyss, I chose this one because this is another one of those shadow decks, and but this one is it's more gentle. It's a side of the crone that's gentle, that is not detached from you. It's the side of the crone that is the grandmother. This gives me very grandmotherly vibes. Anatolian did a fantastic job with the artwork and how she decided to portray the cards. And not to mention that this deck actually has, let me see if I can find them, the 10, yep, the numerological 10 of Swords. I hope that more creators do this for the decks because this is my preferred reading for the 10 of Swords, and also for the 3 of Swords. There we go. It's just so refreshing to see the imagery that is more aligned with how I read the cards. I wish more creators would do this, but as in any case, this is a very, like I was saying, very grandmotherly vibe sort of deck for me. I like the line work. This deck literally makes me think of my grandmother whenever I use it. My grandmother had this very dark sense of humor, and she was a trickster herself, and she was very she was just a very fun grandmother. I remember she was also outside of her time, definitely, because she had views of the world that definitely did not align with her culture or with the time that she was living in. Unfortunately, my grandmother passed away when I was 8 years old, and I know that we could have had so much more fun. And this is exactly what happens when I use this deck. I have a lot of fun with this deck. Yes, it's a shadow deck, but I find that this deck has a very dark humor to it. Why do I say this? I feel that Anna Turian probably had a lot of fun drawing these cards, and just like taking her work seriously, but herself as an artist, I feel like she injected a lot of humor to the cards. Maybe humor is not the right word to use. I don't want to speak for Anna Turian, of course, but it just feels like she had a lot of fun drawing this deck. The way that the lines move on the cards, the cards flow very well. There's a very warm feeling coming from all of them. Even the cards that are more complex in meaning, and they're more difficult for us to face. I love this lovers card. It's just such a different way to portray the lovers, and it makes total sense to me. So yeah, see what I mean with the dark humor. I mean, this very triumphant figure riding geese in the sky. It's just there is some humor to this. Or at least that's what I feel when I see this deck. There's also very abstract sort of work on the deck. The expression on the Wheel of Fortune, the woman on the Wheel of Fortune, it's just so well done, guys. It makes me smile. It probably makes me smile because it reminds me of my grandma, like I said before. But yes, this is a Crone sort of deck because it is very it's very old, it's very wise, it's giving you advice in a very fun way, in a very gentle sort of way, very heartfelt sort of way. So that's why I chose it as my second Crone deck. And this was Tarot of the Abyss by Anna Turian. And my third and final deck that I chose is the infamous, or should I say famous, Marielle Tarot by Marie White. There is nudity in this one, guys, like very in-your-face sort of nudity. But it is artistic nudity, so I don't know why, guys, but mine came like this. It came edged. I've had this deck since it came out. And it is my understanding that it's not supposed to be edged in black. I know that people have edged their decks in black, but I didn't have to. Mine already came this way, so I'm not really sure what happened with my deck, but there it is. But I chose this as my third Crone deck because this deck feels old, and not because it is old to me. It feels very ancient. The wisdom and the messages that I get from the Marielle Tarot, they feel like they're coming from a different source that has been here even before there was anything in this universe. it's I don't know, it's very atypical for me because this is also a deck that I use only for myself. This is one of the 2 decks that I use for myself and that I don't use for anyone else. The other one being the Cloud Cards by Clamp that I showed in my Maiden decks. But yes, this one, it's just it feels like the very mystical, very abstract part of the or archetype of the crone that that's capable of doing anything. Not only capable of doing anything, but making you believe that you can do anything, giving you the tools to do those things, even if they do seem impossible. The messages from the Mariel Tarot are, for me, whenever I use this deck, and I use this deck very, very, very little throughout the year. Actually, I haven't used this deck this year at all. I'm not really sure if I'm going to do it or not. But this deck is also very accurate to me. This deck likes to future cast for me, even though future casting is a practice that I don't usually perform. Even when I'm asking this deck something that's going on right now for me, and I only turn to this deck when I'm in a very bad place and I literally don't know how to get out of it, I will turn to this deck. But even if I ask this deck something about what's going on with me in the present moment and what's affecting me from my past, it always, always, always gives me a message for the future, and it's very scary how accurate it is on what that thing that is telling me that's going to pass will pass. So I try not to use this deck a lot because I feel like this deck is pulling energy from time itself, from time as a being, and it's imparting that information. I know it's I don't know how else to describe it. It's very mystical. It's very magical. It's very mesmerizing. It is not confusing. This deck is very straightforward with me, and I understand it very, very well. I did have to study this deck a lot. This was probably my first study deck ever, but I got really good with it to the point where now I need to be a little bit careful with it because this deck will tell me things that I really don't need to know and don't want to know. But I mean, I just keep coming back to it. It's that crone archetype. You just have to keep coming back because it's pulling you. It's magnetic. The crone, it's attractive to you because of her intelligence, of her experience, of her very out of the box thinking that the crone has developed in the years, in her years, right? So yeah, the Mariel Tarot is the third deck that I chose for the crone archetype. I know that there are people on YouTube that have very difficult time, or they have a very difficult time with this deck, but I'm not one of them. I enjoy working with this deck when I'm prepared to work with this deck. And I mean, the art is just so different. It's more expression than anything else that I get from the paintings of this deck. I'm not disturbed by any of the images. I am aware that some people are not liking of some of the imagery that Marie White decided to use for her deck, and that's the reason why she also repainted some of them as well. And I mean, for the second edition of this deck, I know that some of the cards were changed. I am thankful that I got a first edition of this deck, because yes, the imagery is striking, but it's not shocking to me, and it doesn't disgust me. Is that the word? Probably not. It doesn't make me feel ill at ease with the imagery. So yeah, this deck also has my favorite moon and my favorite sun card. Oh, come on, guys. Isn't that just beautiful? So let's leave the Mariel Tarot be for right now. Let's end this on this beautiful image of the sun and the moon cards from the Mariel Tarot. So those are my deck, guys. Hopefully I made sense in my reasoning behind choosing all of these decks for the archetypes of the Maiden, Mother, and Crone. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what are your opinions on the Maiden, Mother, and Crone archetypes. Do you agree with my picks of decks, or do you have any other decks that you associate with either the Maiden, the Mother, or the Crone archetype? Thank you so much for sharing with me this space, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye, YouTube.